Hello everybody, here I am, the Gunslinger again, doing another cast tonight for you to be put on the internet. In the top right position I have Infinity's DarkDaddy, someone who I've met recently, very nice person, and hopefully I can do some more replays and work with him in the future. And he is the Orange Zerg. Now in the top left we have the player MajorTom, who is the light blue Protoss. I haven't seen too many of his games, and I was told that this is a pretty good platinum level game, so I can get some good analysis and maybe even get some good strategy at the same time here. Now, I do see right off the bat that DarkDaddy is going for that extractor trick to get those extra drones out there, to get a little bit of increased mining, very effective for the Zerg armies, as it sometimes does take a little while for that first Overlord to come out. Now, there's also kind of there's that early scouting probe going out in larger maps, especially with four-player maps in a 1v1 matchup. You like to see scouting done immediately after the first pylon goes down. You also see chrono boost going on in MajorTom's base, very effective at the early part of the game. However, will he go ahead and save up for even more? Nope, he is probably going to save it and continue to use that in the future on his warp gates. Now, still no spawning pool going down for DarkDaddy, so he may be going for some form of hatchery first play. Sure enough, that's exactly what he's going to do. He is expanded to his natural, so he will go for some kind of economic build at this point. Now, the typical opening for MajorTom is occurring. The gateway is almost finished. Right about halfway, you see people go for that assimilator once he gets to a bit more in supply. But it is kind of later than you typically see it. Now, I actually had to take a bit of a breather there. The spawning pool is now going down for DarkDaddy so that he can get his military units out there pretty soon. Zealots will be on the way. Cybernetics Core is being warped in next, so you can expect some form of warp gate play early on. And he scouts it right away, and he's not really going to stay too far back there. DarkDaddy is going to say that that will be highly indicative, especially with only one gas at this point. He hasn't pulled any workers. That would be another indication that he's going for a very fast warp gate. Now, the scouting probe is going to finally make it into DarkDaddy's base. He is going to see that this expansion is just about finished, and you actually see a proxy hatchery going down. However, it was cancelled right off the bat, seeing as how MajorTom did not get surprised by it in the slightest. Not gonna happen today. So DarkDaddy is gonna go for his first gas, as well as have his first batch of Zerglings go ahead and take out that scouting probe. As he goes for this gas, he can go ahead and put down a Roach Warren if he were so, if he intended to do such a thing, but as he has no gas, I do not see that as a possibility. Moving the workers now down to this expansion hatchery a little later than I would have liked. A lot of times the best players will try and get that down as soon as possible to really get that to skyrocket, maybe even moving a queen down. But that's just some play that isn't for everyone. We'll see how it affects him. Looking back at the Protoss base, Cybernetics Core was being chrono boosted for his warp gate, and he's going to continue to do that going into 3-gate, but also a Twilight Council. So you're seeing the 3-gate blink rush coming his way. Very effective in the early parts against Zerg, but he is going for roaches, so he will get some more powerful units. Now, that is about half complete, and the queen is in place at one of these hatcheries, and he now has his second queen. So now these bases are going to become fully functional if he wants. I do think MajorTom needs to expand at some point now that he has these 3 gates. Once he moves out with with a nice group of stalkers, maybe 2 warping rotations, he can go ahead and seize that expansion. Or he could go for some form of zealot aggression with charge, seeing as how he has such minimal amounts of gas. Either way, it is something that he's just going to have to wait on, which I find strange. He went for it, and he could not afford it. Major disadvantage for MajorTom. Now, looking back here in the base, it seems like there are a couple of spine crawlers going down to defend these bases right off the get-go. You see that a lot in lower mid-level style of games. And there are only a couple of roaches. I wish we could see more because they will be very effective against the Zealot army that is soon to be heading down. An expansion has been seized by MajorTom as I anticipated. Meanwhile, Metabolic boost is being put in by DarkDaddy, so he will get some Zergling speed. Zergling Roach not as effective. Maybe if he went along the lines of teching up to lair and getting Hydralisks, that would be very effective. Maybe even getting a third base and getting something along the lines of you could go for Mutas as well, if he, once again, were so inclined. Moving the Overlords down, kind of getting a bit of map control, seeing what's coming. There are not a lot of air units for MajorTom, so we will basically see more Zealots and some sentries, though, for any early aggression by Zerglings. Now, if we look at the income station, it seems that DarkDaddy does have an improvement in the economy, due to the fact that he has 2 bases and has a slight advantage in workers. But if we also look at the unit counting station, we'll see that there are an interesting balance. There are actually more army units for, well, actually there are more. DarkDaddy does have more units, but they are very close. Now, with this expansion comes 3 more gates, so you are seeing this evolve into a 6-gate push. Stalker is going to go ahead and toy with this Zergling that kind of went all the way past his units. They didn't see him. He kind of scrolled his way around. Moving into this, he still hasn't gotten any upgrades from his Twilight Council. Major flaw in his strategy. That's a lot of money that he could have used on some more units. So at this point, I do kind of give DarkDaddy the benefit of the doubt. However, he needs to be a bit more aggressive or expand. He does have the safety for it. I wouldn't necessarily recommend going to this lower portion expansion due to the fact that they are in close positions. Now let's see here. He is about halfway done with his lair, so you could see something along the lines of those Hydralisks or something into Infestors, and Evo Chamber is also going down for DarkDaddy. Now, let's take a look and see what MajorTom is doing next. Continuing to build more pylons. He is actually supply blocked. Another flaw. Definitely don't want to do that. That is actually something that even beginner players should learn right off the bat. If you can prevent yourself from getting supply blocked, you can continue to grow, exponentially get your military to grow in size, upgrades, you name it. Now, Blink is finally being researched. I don't know what I think about that. He doesn't have very many stalkers, and depending on how he can micro his units, he has to deal with the force fields and guardian shields of his sentries, as well as using Blink. So he can force field as much as he wants in the beginning. They do have a lot of energy. Then switch over to focus on controlling his stalkers and blanking them around. Continuing to get a very diverse amount of gateway units in his army. Now, he did move out with a large sum of roaches. I like that a lot. A large sum of roaches to get this top expansion. Very risky. But if he does seize it, it is probably easier for him to get at that expansion. However, there is this possibility of a backdoor. So, MajorTom can easily go ahead and move up there. He does notice that there is no third expansion for MajorTom. Does MajorTom even have any inclination of going to the Destructible Rocks? I do not believe so. He has kind of walled off, or partially walled off, with these gateways. Now, more upgrades are coming down for DarkDaddy, as he is going to go ahead and make a Nidus Worm. There is a Nidus Worm burrowing through. DarkDaddy is going to Nidus Worm Rush. I do love it when this happens. I remember this used to happen to me the first time. I freaked out. So here comes the Nidus Worm. It is going to burrow its way across, and in come the roaches. This base is completely undefended. Oh, this is amazing. So many roaches just being constantly ferried through. An Overseer is even going to be involved if there were any sort of DTs on the field, or an Observer, even though these units cannot shoot up. And going ahead, taking down that pylon will cause MajorTom to be supply blocked. Does he know this is happening? No, instead he has moved in to be in a form of a base trade against the opponent's base. And MajorTom is going to use an expletive and realize that he got Nidus Worm rushed, and there is no way he is going to lose his base. But these protest units are doing even better. MajorTom may destroy this hatchery. It's a major base trade. The gateways are down, the pylons are down. Reinforcements can come in for DarkDaddy if he so chose to. Drones moving away because that expansion is basically eradicated. He has, well, units can go back to the Nidus Worm. If he allows them to, he's putting drones in and moving them across. So he did rescue so many of these drones. He can actually build a hatchery where this Protoss base was for MajorTom. And sure enough, he is going to make a proxy hatchery, as this one will surely go down. That being said, though, this base is going to be destroyed. MajorTom has been barely outclassed. I do love it, seeing a base trade who can race to be the first to destroy his opponent. The Zerglings have destroyed pylons, no reinforcements coming in. The drones are just slowly being chipped away at, but he should just destroy his base and eradicate it in this fashion. Wow, even going after larva. Wow, I do gotta say, DarkDaddy, I'm gonna take a couple seconds to think about why I think he did so well. I think part of it was the Nidus Swarm in general. Not being able to put pylons around his main, to see that coming as there was no aggression. You do see the Roach Rush coming into play. There is one pylon out there that he is basically going to have to find. But once he destroys all of these buildings, it is basically GG. Yep, he has not built his base and is being revealed, so you will see pylon number 1 and pylon number 2. You can see basically everything he's built. The Zerglings will be able to sweep everything up, and that is all she wrote. Here come the roaches, just going to do what they do best and destroy. Meanwhile, the Protoss units aren't even going to try and defend it. They're going to go for as many of the Overlords as they can. I still think that he may be able to destroy an army of this size, but the hatchery is in place, and there are some drones. He could distance mine if he so chose, but he's even going to... He built a pylon right there in a proxy, so this is actually very interesting that it has resulted in a base trade and will not end right away. Due to the force fields by MajorTom, he did give himself a minor advantage, but with no bases and not enough well, he does have enough minerals to build a new one. Once this creep is receded, he will go ahead and build a new nexus. This is kind of hilarious. I actually feel awkward. And there the bases were built, and basically they swapped bases. A hatchery not in the most acceptable position. There's another spawning pool going down, so more units can be built. Another key thing to note is that DarkDaddy has not been supply blocked.